Well, speaking of things happening in wrestling and speaking of brawls in wrestling, we were going to record the other day, and we had different things happening on Twitter between AEW talent that we were going to talk about. We recorded today. We are recording right now, I should say, and a lot more has happened.
It's only gotten better.
Sammy Guevara and Andrade. I don't know how we even begin talking about this. When did you first get wind of everything going on here?
Well, I'll tell you, as best I can recollect, counselor. I sound like I'm testifying now. It was on Twitter. The people were all a Twitter over the Twitter controversy where apparently old Andre did a podcast or an interview somewhere. And it didn't sound like he was, like, fuck this fucking Guevara. It was like, this Sammy Guevara. He said he went and complained to the locker room like a little girl that I was too stiff with him. Hey, John Cena didn't complain, and this guy didn't complain, but Sammy Guevara complains about me being too stiff with him like a little girl. That was about the most inflammatory comment that, at least from the transcription that I read, that old Andre said about Sammy.
Well, he did indicate that Sammy was the one guy he had any issue with. He pointed out that I have not had an issue with Omega. I've not had an issue with CM Punk. Only really one person, Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, well, that's not like, fuck this fucking guy. If he was standing here right in front of me, I would, it was like, hey, I've had a problem with one guy. This fucking guy, he complained about me. All right. Well, Sammy decided to kick it up a notch on Twitter, and I can't quote it chapter and verse. I think you have it in front of you, but he basically significantly said, hey, motherfucker, fuck you. Do you have that response there from Sammy on Twitter?
I have a series of responses that we could talk about one at a time. Apparently on October 3rd at 10:07 p.m., so that was Monday, Sammy tweeted out of nowhere to the general public at this time,
Cinderella story, out of nowhere.
You are a jobber, a favor hire. Be grateful, bitch. So the next morning, Andrade, Olio. I see, now I feel like I have to do it after you did it for so long.
Olio.
9:46 a.m., October 4th. I said it to your face. Face being in caps. If you had a problem with me and you said nothing, again in caps, I won't beat your ass because I'm a professional. Don't be scared. When I say something, I name names. And I'm not scared to get fired. Hashtag Sammy.
Oh, and by the way, I believe part of the story was that Andrade had actually gone up to him at some point and said, hey, no, he didn't say anything to his face. Go ahead.
Let's also talk about another angle of this before we go forward with the tweets, because this is a big part of it. The idea that it's now out there, people know, but people have known for a while, it's just now out there. There are a lot of guys who want to go back to WWE that don't want to be there. They see what's going on in that locker room, and whether they deserve the push they have or not, they certainly want to go back to the WWE system as opposed to everything that's happening in AEW. Again, Andrade may not be someone that you go, oh, what a amazing talent to steal back. But in his head, he doesn't want to be there, allegedly.
And that's why, allegedly, people have been saying, including Sammy, I'll keep trying to get fired so you can go back to the WWE.
Well, Sammy responded to the previous tweet from Andrade, 10:57 a.m. on October 4th, so about an hour and 10 minutes after the previous tweet.
Sammy gets up a little later.
You didn't say shit to me, you liar, but here's some truth, you ungrateful prick. You would be jobless if it wasn't for your dad-in-law. Are you really mad at me or mad at yourself for failing to get over for a second time? Second in caps.
Ooh.
Just go back to WWE like we all know you want to do and fuck off.
Wait a minute, hold on. A large order of fish heads, please, for Mr. Andre Olio. So that was Sammy's response to Andrade saying, I'm not scared to get fired.
Well, that did not make Andrade Olio. Now I'm doing Andrade El Idolo happy. And here's his response. Okay, I'm a liar. with an emoji of someone laughing so much they're crying. See you on Wednesday! 2 exclamation points. I'll tell you to your face again! 3 exclamation points. And nothing you say that you do not have any See, this is where there's sometimes a translation issue. And nothing you say that you do not have any problem. At this point,
well, he told him.
A third party jumped in. Jose, the assistant, at 10:51 a.m. I was there and can confirm this incident happened. Andrade gave an honest interview about his thoughts on AEW, his upcoming Rampage match with his AEW career on the line, and more. Good thing no one in AEW can translate Spanish to English. Uncensored, all in caps, with a emoji of someone covering their mouth. And that's another thing. Did you realize he had a match coming up with his career on the line? Against number 10 of the Dark Order, whose mask was on the line?
Yeah, apparently now they're going to try to rehabilitate number 10 into some type of legitimate, well-thought-of talent by popping his mask off because he looks so stupid and he's number 10. But they put him to just, instead of just having him go away for 2 weeks, come back and take the fucking mask off and start fresh, they booked him in a mask versus career match with Andre Oleo. And if anybody thinks that Andrade was going to lose that and retire, well, but just that was supposed to be on Friday, and more on that later.
Well, one final tweet here. Ricky Starks chimed in, and I think he spoke for a lot of people. Man, can my coworkers just shut the fuck up for a minute? And Jim, let's talk about this, the Twitter exchange over a couple of days, Andrade and Sammy Guevara.
Well, again, I guess it's the generation that Sammy's in that he thinks that that's an appropriate thing to do is to, and I mean, I've jousted with many people on Twitter, and everybody fucking jousts with people on Twitter. When somebody's in goddamn Auckland, New Zealand, or Swaziland, or you don't know where the fuck they're at, and you see they said something, well, here, fuck you, motherfucker, but you work with this guy. You're going to see him every week at TV. It's one of the boys that's in the locker room, and you choose, instead of calling the guy up on the phone, if you're that incensed about what he said on an interview, which basically was that Sammy's the only guy that ever said that or ever complained about him being too stiff or whatever. That's not the most inflammatory verbiage I've ever heard, uttered towards somebody else. So Sammy, instead of calling a guy on the phone, or instead of going up to him on Wednesday night, he wants to make a production out of it. He wants to tell the whole world. And in the process, he wants to call more attention to the fact that everybody in that locker room hates each other, and they all act like they're fucking 12. Except this time, Sammy's not engaging in, distasteful public displays of affection with Ty Mellocanti. He's fucking talking about a guy that probably, let's face it, we haven't had much good to say about old Andre's matches, but he can probably kick the shit out of Sammy Guevara. So I don't know why he chose that route to, but again, then what's the other guy going to say when this fucking little guy with a slappable face, which is why he was such a good heel until we found out he's a mental incompetent and can't figure out he accidentally got over and can't figure out how to stay over. Now the people really do hate him, not just because he's a heel. What's Andre supposed to do? Just sit there and take that Twitter lashing? He was bound to say something back. Now you don't have a private issue amongst the boys in the locker room that, if they had somebody in charge of talent relations that anybody actually listened to or respected, that could solve that. But of course, that's obviously not the case because they certainly haven't been able to solve any of the other ones. But they could have kept it amongst themselves and come to TV and either bitched at Tony or bitched at each other or whatever in some type of face-to-face before it got to that point. Because now I'll see you Wednesday. Well, I'll see you Wednesday, motherfucker. So then let's get into part 2 of this fiasco.